Hello everyone. In today's session, we're going to explore the fascinating world of programming languages and programming paradigms. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand how programming languages evolved over time, why different programming paradigms exist, and why concepts like object-oriented programming have become the modern software development. Let's get started.
Now, let's understand what a programming language actually is. Imagine you want to instruct your friend. You use English because both of you understand it. But computers don't understand English. They understand only electrical signals represented as zeros and ones called binary. Programming languages act as a translator between human and computers. We write instruction in language such as Java, Python, or C, and special softwares like compilers or interpreters convert them into machine language. Without programming languages, developers would have to write millions of binary digits manually. So just imagine writing an entire game or a banking software using only zeros and ones. It would be practically impossible. So whenever someone asks, why do we need programming languages? The simple answer is they make communication between human and computers possible. Now, we will see the different generations of programming languages. So, programming languages have evolved through 5 different stages, namely the machine language, assembly language, high-level languages, domain-specific languages, AI and logic languages. The first generation is machine language, which uses binary code, is understood directly by the computer. The second is assembly language, which uses mnemonic instructions, but still requires assembler. The third generation introduced the high-level languages, so like C and Java, so making programmer much easier. The fourth generation includes domain-specific languages such as SQL, designed for specialized tasks. Finally, the fifth generation focuses on artificial intelligence and logic programming, enabling intelligent problem solving and expert systems. So now we will discuss each of these generations in detail with their advantages and disadvantages. Now we will discuss the machine language in detail. Machine language is also called the first generation programming languages, which uses purely zeros and ones. So which means, so whenever we write to an instruction for a computer, or whenever we need to write a particular program, this program does not contain any of the syntax which we are following right now. So each of the program or each of the instruction will simply a combination of zeros and ones only. So this simply means you have to memorize, for example, even if you want to add a simple 2 numbers, you have to memorize the sequence of zeros and ones used for memory for this particular task. Since the machine language does not require any kind of translation, these run directly on the hardware. So since it directly runs on the hardware, the speed of a machine language is extremely high. But there are drawbacks also for the machine language. First of all, it is extremely complex. So even for a simple task, so like adding, multiplying, or any other instruction you have to perform on a computer, the combination of zeros and ones used for that particular task you have to memorize. So memorizing these sequence of zeros and ones will be a very huge task, otherwise a complex task for a human. So this makes the machine language one of the difficult language for the human. Second, the machine language have zero portability, so which means, so these are hardware specific language. So the program written for a one particular memory architecture or a CPU architecture cannot be used on another architecture or otherwise another processor. For simple terms, you can say, if you say, and if you have an i3 processor and the program designed or the program required for this i3 processor will not be enough for an i5 processor. So depending upon the hardware you are using, the program will differ. So this is one of the most difficult problem while dealing with the binary language, otherwise a machine language, that is the zero portability. So to overcome these problems, you have the next generation of language, so that is the assembly language. So the assembly language Instead of using the simple zeros and ones, so we will use certain symbol codes which are called mnemonics, otherwise opcodes. And these are simple short words. For example, we can say move. For example, you can say load, etc. Or you can say add. So these kinds of short code words are there in the second generation of programming languages. This simply replaces the sequence of zeros and ones which we were using in the first generation of languages. But there is a problem with this. So these second generation language, otherwise these opcodes, are not directly understood by the computer. So we need to translate these opcodes into the machine readable form, otherwise into the binary form. And for doing this particular task, you have a language translator there in the second generation languages. So that is called an assembler. So the assembler translate a assembly language program into the binary language, otherwise into a machine language program. So the advantage of using second generation languages, otherwise assembly language, is the high efficiency. Second, the hardware control. And third is a readable mnemonics. First of all, it offers execution speeds and minimal memory usage almost identical to the machine code. Second, it permits exact instructions for a register allocation and direct memory address mapping. So it's similar to like that of the machine language. You will get a direct hardware control while using the assembly language also. Third one is the most important thing for a programmer. The instruction you are writing is a human readable mnemonic form. Therefore, it is easy to learn and memorize these mnemonic codes so that we can write the programs much faster than in a binary language. But still, there are certain drawbacks for assembly language. First of all, the zero portability. So since these are also designed for a particular hardware, on changing the hardware and you have to rewrite the program again. That is, the program written for one architecture will not work on another architecture. Second thing, so it is difficult to debug an assembly language program because it requires the complex program. Whenever we discuss for writing complex programs, it requires managing millions of hardware level memory interactions. Next of all, it is comparatively very slow to the machine language. It is because since in a assembly language, these instructions are executed or written line by line, or we can say there is no structures like loops or objects are available. So like which we are using in the modern programming languages. So the program written on an assembly language are comparatively slow, or it can be say slow coding. The slow coding is in the sense that the time required for writing the program will be comparatively long, not the time for execution of the program. So execution time of a particular program is comparatively faster than the modern languages, but the time required for writing the code is comparatively larger than the modern languages, since each line of code you have to write separately. Now, to overcome these kinds of problems, you have the third generation of programming languages, so which we are commonly using at present. In the third generation of programming languages, you have plenty of languages available. So like C, C++, Java, Python, etc. So these languages commonly use English-like words. So learning the structure of these particular languages are comparatively easy when compared to the assembly language or the machine language. So here in this case, since we are writing the program in a high-level language, so these languages are not directly understood by the computer. So you need to convert this into a machine readable form. For doing this, you have two types of language translators available. The first one is a compiler, and this compiler will convert a high-level language into a low-level language. And second one type of translator is an interpreter. Both of these are language translators which we are using in high-level languages. The way the compiler and interpreter works are only different. In case of a compiler, the languages like C, Java, etc. uses a compiler for translating. So in case of the language is in the compiler type, so the compiler will convert the complete program you have written into a single binary code. Otherwise, this compiler will check the complete program for any kind of syntax errors or the structure, and if no errors are there, the complete code will be converted into an executable form or into a binary form. But in case of an interpreter, each line of code will be checked separately. So you will convert each line of code into a separate executable form line by line. So there are certain advantages for high-level languages. First of all, they have a high portability. It is because it does not require separate hardware architecture. The program you are writing for a particular hardware can be executed on any type of hardware. Otherwise, these programs are not actually hardware specific. So second one, the easier coding, because since it is using English words, otherwise English dictionary words, and we use a structured method, and we use different kinds of loops, objects, etc., the coding become much easier compared to the previous generations. Now, third biggest advantage for the high-level programming languages are that we have a number of IDEs available, that is integrated development environments. So these are the tools commonly used for writing and compiling and debugging purposes. So we can easily find errors in a particular program and we can rectify them to get a correct output. So even though they have this much advantages, the third generation languages, otherwise high level languages, have certain disadvantages too. First of all, the lower efficiency. The execution speeds are comparatively slower due to the translation overhead. So whether you are writing a Java program, whether you are writing a C or C++ program, so the program written on these high-level languages needs to be compiled so that it can be run on the hardware. So this time taken for this translation is an extra overhead. So this reduces the total execution time, total execution speed. Next one is a translation delay. So that means, so when we compile or interpret a particular language, so there we waste a certain amount of time. So this causes a translation delay. Next one, so we have only the indirect control over the hardware. Otherwise, the developers, those who are using the high-level programming language, do not have a direct access to the hardware and how the hardware components like registers or memory components are working. Now, we will see the fourth generation of language. In the fourth generation of language, these are domain-specific languages. In the third generation language, if you say, so they were all general purpose programming languages. So they were commonly used in multiple applications. So whether it is a banking application development, whether it is a game development, whether it is an embedded systems, etc. So in the multiple domains, we can use the third generation, otherwise high level languages. But when it comes to the case of fourth generation languages, so they are domain specific languages. Otherwise, these languages are designed particularly to perform on a particular field or in a particular domain. For example, you can say image processing. For example, you can say database management, or you can say data visualization, etc. For example, the SQL is used particularly in the database management systems. So MATLAB is used for metrics, max, and engineering or data visualization. ABAP is used for enterprise systems, etc. So here, these languages commonly allow users to define what needs to be done rather than coding the detailed step-by-step algorithms of how to do it. So this commonly reduces the line of code. So the key advantage for these fourth generation languages are the rapid development. It is because since the line of code required for a particular task is reduced to a 1 or 2 line of code, or 1 or 2 line of command, the total development speed will increase. Second one advantage is the user accessible. So here, the non-programmers can write script with basic English-like commands, for example, in case of an SQL, etc. So you can easily use a structured command to get the work done. So next one is the easy maintenance. The highly readable code base translate to faster debugging and updates. So the drawback of fourth generation languages are the developers have only limited control over the CPU resources and the exact memory pathways. So here, in case on a fourth generation language, the developers will not write a long line of code, or they simply give certain simple commands so that to get the work done. So here in this case, the execution speed is comparatively slower than the previous generation because a translation is required. It is either a compilation or an interpretation is required to convert the command which we are writing in a high level language to a machine executable form. So next one, So these are domain-specific languages. That means the scope of these languages are very limited. For example, SQL. So this can only be used for database management systems, or MATLAB can only be used for metrics, math, and engineering data visualization activities, etc. So simply you can say the scope of the languages are limited, and it is not like general purpose programming languages which we were seen in the third generation of languages. And next comes the fifth generation of programming languages, that is AI and logic languages. So in the AI or the fifth generation languages are basically constraint based or logic driven programming languages such as Prolog, OPS5, Mercury, etc. So specifically engineered for artificial intelligence, expert systems, and neural networks. The defining feature of fifth generation language is that these languages act as intelligent solvers instead of writing step-by-step algorithms. The rules and fact of the problem domain and let the built-in inference engine solve the problem automatically. So here in this case, the logic-based paradigm brings three distinct advantages to the complex computing. So one is natural problem solving. That is, first, the natural problem solving is the fifth generation languages are highly suited for artificial intelligence, machine learning, and expert decision-making systems where problems are too complex for traditional step-by-step logic. Second, the declarative logic. The program must only state the rule and goals, shifting the entire algorithmic heavy lifting over the execution engine. The third is an advanced searching capabilities. So built-in backtracking and pattern matching allow fifth generation languages to traverse and evaluate vast relation graphs with ease. However, relying on an engine to infer solutions come with severe technical trade-offs. First, the extreme overhead can happen. So automatic search and inference engines consume massive amount of CPU cycles and memory to compute possibilities. Second, the niche applications. So fifth generation languages are highly inefficient for standard procedural tasks like building basic user interfaces, web development, or low-level system scripting. Finally, the unpredictable execution. So complex recursive rule matching can sometimes cause performance deadlocks or total starvation if not carefully constrained. To wrap up, the fifth generation languages shift the burden of problem solving from the human mind directly into the machine inference engine, so making it ideal for the AI logic, even if it comes with heavy computational cost.